and welcome to the Rainbow Umbrella, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything under the rainbow. And this month on the Rainbow Umbrella, I'm joined by the lovely Abbie from the Rainbow Shoelace Project, all the way from Australia. Kia ora, Abbie. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
I'm so glad that we managed to find a time zone that worked for both of us and sort out our technical difficulties.
Took us a bit, but we're here now, and that's all that matters.
That's right. Two strong, independent women. We got this.
Yeah, we do.
Awesome. So we're here to talk about the Rainbow Shoelace Project, which is something I just happened to come across when I was doing some rainbow Googling one day. So can you tell us all about the Rainbow Shoelace Project?
Yeah, of course. So I started the Rainbow Shoelace Project in March of 2022 when I was just 12 years old, which I don't know, it feels so long ago. I mean, it was 3 years ago, but it feels so much longer than that. I just feel like I've grown up so much since it first started. But I started it when I was 12 and living in Broken Hill, which I feel like New Zealanders wouldn't exactly know where that is. I don't even know if people from Australia would know where that is. It's a very, very, very small, very rural area. And as you could imagine, country town, very stuck in its ways, not the most accepting place. So being, one, as young as I was, and two, being queer and starting a project dedicated to advocating for queer people, it was a massive shock to, you know, people who were very stuck in their ways. Um, I started it originally because I was feeling really alone and isolated. I was just starting high school, and especially living in such a small town, I just felt like there was no one like me, and like I didn't have supportive people to go to other than my mum, really. So I had previously had rainbow beads on my shoelaces in about year six, so just before starting high school, because it was a small way to, show who I was, and it was cute and it was discreet, and I just really, really enjoyed the way they looked. When I got to high school, the amount of generalized homophobia I heard was really shocking and it terrified me. So I got home that day and I basically said, Mum, I have to take these beads off my shoes. I can't, it'll make me a target for bullying. And then I thought to myself, well, that's not fair. I shouldn't have to stop being who I am for closed-minded people's comfortability. And I thought about all the other kids in Australia and in the world that might be feeling the same way I was. So then the idea of the rainbow shoelace came about, and the whole message that you normally see rainbows when you're looking up in the sky, and when you're experiencing homophobia and bullying, you tend to look down and hide yourself from the world. And by looking down and seeing people with rainbow beads on their shoelaces, it can remind you to look up and be who you are.
That is so beautiful and so succinctly put. Well done.
I've said it a couple of times. It kind of is just like a script in my brain.
Yeah. And starting it when you're 12, that's incredible. Did you have any support from friends, teachers? Obviously, your family is very supportive of you, but like, did you have any peers that were like, "Yeah, Abby, this is great."
So I remember bringing the idea to my friend Max, who is still in Broken Hill. I'm currently not in Broken Hill anymore. I moved to Port Macquarie, but we'll get to that later. Subtle foreshadowing to the story. Anyways, I, I, I brought the idea to my friend Max, and they put beads on their shoelaces and helped me pack the first, you know, couple of packs that went out, across the community. I remember the first time ever giving away beads, we printed out just an A4 piece of paper, laminated it, and stuck 6 packets of rainbow beads to a Woolies notice board. And I was so stoked when people had taken them. And, it made me feel really happy that, other people saw it and, you know, took it upon themselves to take some for either themselves or their friends. And obviously, my biggest supporter or my biggest supporters are my mum and my pop, who I was living with as well, my grandfather. And I know there's a very big, you know, I know it's very assumed that people who are older are very homophobic and stuck in their ways, and that is true for lots of people, but my pop is the most kind, accepting, helpful man who just wants to bring joy to people. So not only was he supportive of me and my personal, existence, he was also supportive of my crazy big ideas that, you know,
Hmm.
so he was very helpful. And obviously my mum, I couldn't have done it without my mum. I couldn't have done any of it without my mum. She believed in me and, you know, still is the main reason why this project is able to run. So it started off self-funded, actually, which is insane, and it still is self-funded by my mum. We get the occasional donation. For a while, it was being covered by donations, but then, we kind of stopped getting as many in. So we're back to kind of paying for the Rainbow Shoelace Project ourselves, which is a lot, but it's really worth it. And I've always been asked why I keep the packets of beads free. And it's because I obviously started this project when I was 12. I couldn't get a job at 12. And I just thought about all those kids that might not be able to buy them for themselves, but they also might not be able to ask their parents to buy it for them because they might not have supportive parents. And that's why it's so important to me that we keep the beads themselves free. We do have to charge for shipping if it's a, you know, global package or a package in a different town or place. But that's just because we couldn't cover postage and the actual beads themselves. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so beautiful that you've, taken all of these things into consideration, especially someone so young. Like, I mean, we've just met, but you seem like such a switched on and thoughtful person. And it's just amazing that I don't know many 12-year-olds, but the fact that you've considered all of these things at 12 is just incredible to me.
Well, obviously, I think it's because I grew up in such a supportive and kind household. Like, my mum and my pop are very, very similar, and just they're both very caring and very, you know, they love to give back to the community and have always been very supportive of me. So I guess they've taught me everything I know, and I'm only this way because they've, you know, brought me up to be kind and considerate of other people.
That's so lovely. So, what was the response you got once you started putting the beads out in the community?
Good question. It's very, okay, bit mixed. So obviously I mentioned that Broken Hill is quite a old school town. But in saying that, I did get lots of support from community members. Yeah, and there were a few other young people who really appreciated it because living in a town as small as Broken Hill, you never see rainbows. You never feel represented. So I guess for other queer kids, seeing a young person who, was spreading rainbows, I think that meant a lot to them, which brings me so much joy. Um, However, I think with light there must be dark, and um, obviously I feel it's really important to share the crappier sides of my story because, with success comes discrimination and, it's not always rainbows and happiness all the time.
Mm.
So obviously I was just starting high school when I started the Rainbow Shoelace Project. And as I mentioned, I was hearing lots of generalized homophobia. I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to say it, but the usage of the word, like on this podcast. So can I reference the word? Okay, yeah, great. Because I feel like it's important to actually say the word so people get that shock factor of how shocking it was for me to hear it. Um, just the word faggot being thrown around as if it meant nothing. And, the simple, that's gay, or, you're so gay, using it as such a negative term. So obviously I heard that generalized homophobia, but as soon as the Rainbow Shoelace Project started to grow and, you know, I started to, I guess, be better known in the community, that generalized homophobia turned into targeted homophobia. Um, and at first, it was not that bad. It was, casual, but it was, a few different people calling me a faggot, laughing at me. I remember on Ida Hobbit Day, which for those who don't know is the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. On Ida Hobbit Day 2022, so about this time, 3 years ago, I organised with my principal to put up the pride flag for Ida Hobbit Day just for one day. And as I was putting the pride flag up, just a group of like year 10 boys who were a lot taller than me, a lot older than me at the time, were just like, "What are you doing? Like, take it down. We don't want that shit in our school." Um, and that was really scary for me because I had never been really exposed to that hatred before. And I was obviously so young and, timid. And when that happened, I just remember being so, so terrified to walk down the hallways because I was scared that, I would see them again or people would start to, make fun of me. And I wish I could say that that didn't happen, but unfortunately it did. That was the first memorable experience I had of homophobia starting to be more direct towards me. But um, as time went on, it got really bad in year eight. So I was like 13, 14 at the time. Um, yeah, it just got to a point where it was really unbearable. Girls would like follow me into the bathroom and like say like, "Oh, that faggot Abbie, like we should kill all the faggots in the school." Like every day someone would say something to me, like people would, throw bits of paper at me saying like kill the fags with like a black and white flag to represent like the straight flag. Um, yeah, it would be online on the Rainbow Shoelace Project accounts on things like TikTok and Instagram. Kids from my school would comment like poofs are a waste of oxygen, like, queer people deserve to kill themselves, or, like you're a faggot, all that stuff. So it was really horrible because I would go to school and experience all this stuff, and then I'd come home and open my phone and it would still be there. Um, and that was just a really dehumanizing, really scary thing to deal with. People would take photos of me at school without me knowing, would post them online, would make accounts about me on social media, just basically degrading and stripping me from all my humanity, um, and just, making me seem like I didn't deserve to have anything, which sucked because I might add, I was queer and was advocating for the queer community. I never did anything to these people. But I will say I'm not one to let things happen and not speak up about it. I know there's the term pick your battles. I'm really bad at picking my battles. I pick every battle. If it's someone being homophobic, I will say something to them. And it's very mentally draining on me, but I feel like because I've had this horrible experience with homophobia, hearing it from anyone just sets off alarm bells in my brain, and I have to do something about it because I don't want someone to go through the same thing that happened to me. Um, so eventually the bullying got to a point where my mental health declined so, so badly that I was barely going to school. Term 4, year 8, I I literally went to school probably 50% of the term. Like I missed half a whole term because I literally couldn't bring myself to go to school. Um, and during the summer school holidays of 2023, I made the quick decision, me and my family made the quick decision to move me to Port Macquarie, which is 16 hours away from Broken Hill, to live with my auntie. So I was moving away from the town I had lived in for 14 years without my mum to live with my auntie and go to a new school, which was really scary. But I remember my mum telling me when she told my pop about the decision we were going to make, he said, "Good, because I don't think she'd make it to year 12 if she stayed here."
Wow.
And that's a really scary, and it gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because I actually genuinely, and this is sorry for getting really deep, but it's really important. I genuinely don't think I would be here if I hadn't moved away, which is really confronting and scary. But I am here, and that's really good. And I've gotten out of Broken Hill. And the Rainbow Shoelace Project has only grown since then, and has turned into something that's helping so many other people. And I will always say that as long as I'm helping one other person, all of the things that I went through would have been worth it. So yeah, life has been so much better in Port Macquarie. However, I feel like it's important to share all the details because homophobia is a really big issue. Last year in about October, I received a call from No Caller ID, and it sounded like a boy that used to bully me, saying, "You're a faggot, you're a faggot, you're a faggot," and like then would just end the call, but would continue to call me 20 times in a row and would leave me horrible voice messages, like threatening to kill me, like just saying horrible things. And they would call every single night, about 15 different times every single night from no caller ID or pay phones. And this happened for 4 months continuously. Um, I had to, go to the police because there was nothing I could do. Like, just my number had been leaked. My number had been leaked in the
Mm.
town that I used to live in and was in the hands of all the people that absolutely despised of me. And I just got the most horrible homophobic voicemails. And also just the fact that they were just calling me continuously over and over and over again. Like I'm talking like 20 calls in 5 minutes. Like it was so bad. And then that just kind of brought back all of this trauma and memories of what I had to go through. And all I could think about was I've moved so far away from my family and the place I've known my whole life, and it's still happening. Like, was this all for nothing? Um, yeah, and that was really scary. Uh, there has been legal action taken, which is great, and that has stopped now. But I guess it's just really eye-opening to know that homophobia is still such a prominent issue.
Mm.
And I apologize, we haven't spoken much about the Rainbow Shoelace Project, and we totally can really soon. But I think it's just really important to share the parts that have made it so much more important. The reason why I've kept going with this project, the reason why I'm so passionate about what I am passionate about is because I know firsthand what it's like to experience homophobia, to experience discrimination, to live in a world where you feel like you don't belong. So that's why I feel it's so important to do what I can to make sure other people don't feel that way.
100%. And you've taken some truly awful things that have happened to you. And I'm so sorry that you've had to experience that, but you've taken all of that shit and turned it into something beautiful that is the Rainbow Shoelace Project, which is absolutely incredible to me. I'm sitting here 36 years old, like, what am I doing with my life? Look at this girl, she's amazing.
Well, I think the most beautiful things come out of horrible things. I think, you
Mm,
know, as much as I wish I didn't have to go through it, it's made me who I am and it's made me more passionate. And being able to have resilience against that has made me a stronger person. And,
mm,
it gives me a story to tell. It helps me help those who are also going through that. And that means more than you could ever know, to me. But like since then, I just remember first starting the Rainbow Shoelace Project, giving away 6 packets of beads and being so excited. And now we've given away over 350,000 packs of beads across like the world. And that just is such a huge number. And knowing that a 12-year-old in Broken Hill started something that's impacted so many people, it just, I'm really proud of it, but I also feel like it makes everything I went through worth it.
absolutely. Oh my goodness. One of my next questions was going to be, so give me some stats for the number nerds out there, but that's phenomenal. That is so amazing.
Thank
I'm
you.
blown away. That's incredible. That's so many beads. I can't believe that. That's so
Oh yeah,
impressive.
it's been a lot of work, a lot of, and don't get me wrong, like I'm tired. Like I'm tired, man. Like I am so tired all the time, but I guess just getting to do so much and, getting to share my story, it's just so fulfilling.
Mm.
But it is really exhausting and burnout is a real issue. Um, but yeah, no, I love that from this project, it's given me so many opportunities to, speak in front of corporate people, like corporate CEOs, and speak in front of schools and, speak in front of people who I've looked up to my whole life, and just getting to share my experience and getting to share something that I've created with them. It's so surreal. Like getting to meet so many influencers and, well-known people has been insane, I guess. And I think social media has played such a huge part in growing the Rainbow Shoelace Project. Without it, the Rainbow Shoelace Project would not be able to have reached as many people as it has. Obviously, I was living in Broken Hill, right? So far away, so isolated from everywhere. We couldn't have reached as many people. So I guess the fact that we've had a platform that people have, followed and, you know, supported has just helped us go global, which is amazing.
That's incredible. How did it feel the first time you could say we've gone global? You've moved outside of Broken Hill, you've gone to different countries, different places.
I don't even remember I don't even remember the first country we went to. I think it was Germany. I don't know. I feel like it was Germany. But I remember a really surreal moment was when um I saw a picture of these little South Korean kids wearing beads on their shoelaces, and like the Rainbow Shoelace Project had made it to like South Korea, and I was like, that's just so crazy. Like it's so cool, and it makes me so happy thinking about it. Um, but it has taken a lot of hard work. But so we've got beads in America, Canada, New Zealand, Germany, London, the Czech Republic, which is so random, South Korea. Yeah, so that's like 7 different countries, which is amazing. Sorry, the Czech Republic isn't a country, but anyways, anyways, sorry, I sound like I'm not very good at geography just then. Anyways, um still in high school, okay, still working on my geography skills.
Amazing. That is so impressive. You should feel so proud at the work you've done. That's incredible.
Thank you so much.
You mentioned about all of these things that have happened to you, but like I said before, on our first meeting, you seem like such a strong and confident person. How did you look after yourself during those times? that you went through all of that nightmarish stuff that we don't need to to touch on again. But how did you get from there, dealing with all of that shit, to where you are now? Because that journey hasn't been very long.
My gosh, that's such a good question. Um, I feel like I wasn't very good at taking care of myself for a lot of it. But just I feel like having a supportive family really made the difference. And my heart aches for all those kids out there, all those queer people that don't have a supportive family, because having a supportive family got me through it. Um, but also, I guess just having the Rainbow Shoelace Project, having something to put my energy and my anger into and turn it into, and my sadness into a positive thing was so rewarding and so good for me, I think. And as tiring as it was, and as tiring as it still is, I think it really helped me make it through all of that, because seeing all the support from people online, just and people around the world, was so amazing and just made me feel like what I was doing was worth it. And, that's what got me through. But obviously, it did get to a point where I did have to, like, literally physically remove myself from Broken Hill because it did get
Mm,
so bad. Um, and I guess just making that move has changed my life. Getting out of that environment and being in a new, area has just made me so much happier. Going to a new school with people who are so supportive, making new friends, being so much closer to metro areas has made all the difference. And I'm so happy. But I guess it's really important that although, doing work for the Rainbow Shoelace Project was really fulfilling for me. Also ensuring that I wasn't overworking myself. I wasn't, doing too much, because, you can only handle so much with school and being a teenager. So I guess just trying to be kind to myself and give myself breaks when I need it, and listening to my body really, really helped.
mm, That's amazing. How are things in Broken Hill now? Do you know?
I know that things for the queer community are still rough. And I think they will be for a long time, unfortunately. Broken Hill is very stuck in its ways, but I hope that I did something to that town to try and make it a bit more progressive. When I was there, I always organised. So in 2022 and 2023, I organised with the council to put the pride flag up at the town hall for Ida Hobbit Day. Um, and in 2023, I approached them and said, "Hey, do you think you could just make an annual event for this? Can you just put the pride flag up every year without me having to ask?" And they went, "No, you'll have to put a request in every year. We can't do that." Um, and I know that now that I'm not there, the pride flag didn't go up last year, and the pride flag probably won't go up this year for Idaho Hobbit Day. Um, and I think leaving Broken Hill was a very conflicting decision, because I knew I needed to, but I also thought about the fact that if I am not going to do anything there, then nothing will happen. And, that just made me feel like I was leaving a job that wasn't finished yet.
Mm,
But I guess it's just putting your mental health first and making sure that, you do what's right for you,
mm,
because it literally saved my life moving.
yeah.
So Broken Hill has not changed much, and it will take a long time for it to change. Um, but I'm glad that I got to try and make an impact while I could.
Mm, absolutely. And I mean, by the sounds of it, you're still making an impact. So, how can we get some beads? How can we support you and the Rainbow Shoelace Project?
So, I guess the biggest thing people can do is spread the word, make sure people know about us. Following us on, all social media platforms. We are just Rainbow Shoelace Project. Going to our website, which is rainbowshoelaceproject.com.au, ordering yourself, a friend, some family members, packs of beads, uh, They're free. You just need to pay for shipping. Or if you are a teacher listening to this, a student listening to this, a person, an employee listening to this, a really good option is buying a bead kit, which is basically we give you each colored pack of beads. We give you 100 beads of each color, 50 bags and 50 paper inserts, and basically you can pack your own beads. It's enough for 50 packs, and that way you can give it to, other students or, your work colleagues.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Wonderful. Well, we've got some great ways to find you, some great ways we can support you. Thank you so much for this chat, Abbie. I really appreciate you being so open and honest, and you should be so proud of everything you and the Rainbow Shoelace have achieved.
Thank you so much.
The Rainbow Umbrella theme song is by Paul S. Allen and Beth. Check them out on Spotify. New episodes of The Rainbow Umbrella are available every fourth Thursday on Otago Access Radio, 105.4 FM, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to get your podcasts. Do you have an idea for an episode or something you would like to kōrero about? Get in touch at rainbowumbrellapod@gmail.com.